everybody, and welcome back to my podcast, season 2 of The Good, the Bad, and the Future. We are back with the two girls today, Tori and Joelle, and we are actually going to look back on the past 4 to 5 years of our lives, talk about the good, the bad, and the future. So let's get into it. I hope you all had an amazing week. So we're first going to talk about kind of before university. We all went to Ryerson, but how did we get to Ryerson and why did we choose Ryerson? So you guys can go around and we'll all kind of say what brought us there or why we even chose to apply there. So go ahead, Joelle.
So the reason why I chose Ryerson is because Ryerson is the only school in this country that offers a university degree in sport media specifically.
And that's what you took.
Yeah, I was always super sporty growing up. I was into broadcasting, and it was like a one-of-the-kind country-known program. It was super hard to get into. It was like a super long application process at the time. I think it's changed now, but it was really the only school I wanted to go to.
What did you have to do to apply?
You have to...
At the time.
It's so different now, but at the time you had to submit... obviously your high school grades and then almost like a portfolio of everything you've been working on throughout high school that would go towards the program. As in? You also like volunteer stuff. I had a blog that I was writing. Okay. School newspaper stuff, like all of that stuff.
Extracurriculars.
And then you had to submit an essay with your application. If you got past that round, you had to go in person to the school to conduct one-on-one interviews with the faculty in the program and write another essay at the school, a timed one. And then...
a timed one?
Yeah, you had like an hour and a half.
Pressure is on.
Because they wanted to make sure that you were the person that actually wrote your initial essay.
Which is smart, because I know, I mean, for me, I even got people to proof mine. Like I got numerous people to proof mine.
Yeah.
But... could you even have someone proof it with an hour and a half to write?
No. It was like really...
And were you in a space where...
Yeah, so they put us all into like a big lecture hall that you would have taken a normal class in. I'm almost positive the question at the time was, what's your favorite sports movie and why is it influential to what you want to do in your career?
Did you know that going into it?
No, but...
Or it's on the spot?
It's on the spot.
When you got it,
so like if you're someone that takes a long time to like think out your thoughts and stuff, you're screwed in there. But no, it was super hard, but it was actually really cool because everyone that you saw at the interview process is like people that you got to in September and you were all like, oh my gosh, like we were so sitting beside each other. Yeah. But no, I know it's way easier to get into now.
My program has changed too into like a lot less work to get into it as well, but I'll touch on that one.
What was your backup plan? Because Ryerson is the only sport.
They have a media production program at Ryerson too. It's not sport focused, so I actually applied to that. Same kind of interview process though. I got into that as well. And then I also applied to Western because being from London, it's always nice to apply at home, and it's like one of the best schools in the country.
Yeah.
Everyone asks, why didn't you go to Western? It's like when we grew up there, we did everything that the students did for
like,
the past
why would you go to Western if you live in London?
Yeah.
Like, no one really goes to their home.
Some people loved it that did, but like I needed out. I needed a fresh start.
Yeah.
What about you?
I chose Ryerson because one, I was like, why would I pay rent and so much for tuition to go and live in Waterloo? Or London, Ontario. No offense. All love.
None taken.
But I'm like, because I grew up in Pickering, so close to the city. So I'm like, I want to be here. And like, my career is in the creative industries. I studied communication, so PR, marketing, the whole thing. Why would I go to London? Like, the action is kind of here for my field. Also, when looking at other communications programs and comparing them to the one at Ryerson and looking at how many electives I had to take, I was like, okay, I can go to... Laurier and take an elective in, I don't even know, like their electives were just so random, whereas at Ryerson I was interested in fashion and I was interested in all the other things, so they just had such a larger breadth of like programs in different industries, which thinking back now was really forward thinking of me in little grade 12. I'm like, oh my god, my electives blah blah blah.
I was not thinking like that.
Me neither.
Well, I think because I had my sister that did go to Western and she was very like health sciences, health, so whatever, so that fit for her. But for the creative industries, like, one, you need to be in Toronto. Two, Ryerson, like, honestly is just unmatched in my opinion.
I totally agree. And a lot of people when I was applying, because I applied for fashion communications, which is the program that I took. I also applied for the fashion design program, applied for both, got into both, which was a heavy applying process too, which was the portfolio, the essay, grades, and all this, whatever, which was a lot to do because you didn't really get why you're doing it all. Like when I was doing it, I was like, but like, why do they need this much? Like, that's a lot. Like, I don't even know what I'm doing. Like in the program, like I didn't do as much research. I just knew fashion and that's what I want to do. And I applied to everywhere else I wanted to go to Parsons for fashion, but I didn't want to write my SATs. I was too scared to move a different country. Fair. So I was like, you know what? I'll apply to Ryerson. And people were like, oh, like it's a hard thing to get into. If you don't get in, like, what are you going to do? And I was like, well, business. Like I'm good at math. I'm good with numbers. Like I'll just apply to business programs. So my backup was Queen's Commerce and Western and these other places. And I think I got on a wait list at Commerce and I was like crying because I'm like, what am I going to do? I'm not going to get into Ryerson either if I'm already not into one school. But it just so happened that I got into this, and I think everything did probably happen for a reason because I could not see myself doing anything else other than fashion.
Ryerson is just like so artsy and creative too. Like I've never met someone, well, I guess it's just the people that I was hanging around though as well, but everyone has like a cool program that they're doing or like a cool side gig that they're doing compared to like the old fashioned, I'm in economics, science, math, like I don't have anything against that stuff, but Ryerson's just different.
I feel like Ryerson is a lot of entrepreneurs. Like we have a lot of people that do their craft, but also do things on the side, whether it's like little projects or teaming up with other things or making brands and doing all those things. Like we have a lot of entrepreneurial people like in Ryerson. It's so creative. It's so diverse. Like I met you guys in totally different programs, but we connected so well because we are so creative. And we do, when people say like you meet the people that you attract. You attract. Like how did you guys feel when did you have any friends that moved to the same like Ryerson with you, or was it just you guys from your age and hometown?
My experience was kind of interesting and kind of anxiety provoking because when I chose Ryerson, living in Pickering, I was like, okay, I'm not going to get res because at the time there was only 2 residences.
And if you're too close, you can't
exactly
you can't get a spot.
Exactly. So naturally I applied because I was like, I'm not going to make friends. I'm not going to make friends. I'm not going to make friends. And the whole narrative of like university is like partying and res and going here and meeting here and like all the things. And I was like, I'm not going to do that. Like I was like, I'm going to go to school, come home, and I'm not going to have any friends, which let's just clear that up now.
You don't have any friends.
Exactly. You can commute and make friends. Like if anyone is listening to this, like thinking like, I don't want to be a commuter, you will make it happen. And that's the beauty of Ryerson is I find with other universities, again, no offense, you go to Queens, like that's kind of your personality, you know, like you go to Queens, you go to the local bars, whereas with Ryerson, there's something for everyone. You don't want to party, okay, you go to the ROM. You don't want to go to the ROM, okay, you go to a restaurant. You don't want to do that, okay, you go to Ossington and you explore the shops. Like that is something that is...
You will find what you love.
There's something for everyone.
In Toronto.
100%. And that was the big like allure for me was I was like, okay, after even commuting, like, okay, I'll have class and then there's coffee shops to go to nearby. There's this to go to like build that sense of community.
I didn't know that you commuted.
First year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because like, then how did you two meet if it wasn't through...
Tori was in a program with a mutual friend and Tori would come and stay at my res sometimes to party and stuff like that. And then we just kind of met through that friend and really hit it off.
I mean, it takes effort, you know, like anything
you gotta
in
keep
life.
making plans with people. And
yeah, and it's like no one is just going to come and knock on your door and be like, I want to be friends with you. But if you do make the effort to sleep on dirty, disgusting res couches or Uber from here and there and, you know, do all the things, like you will. And if you put yourself out there, like it will benefit you.
For me, like even before, like I researched like who was in my program too, and I reached out to some people who was going to Ryerson from like around my hometown just to see too. And even like you're a year older than me, and I knew that you and Raph and all those people were going to Ryerson, so I was like, okay, like maybe I'll just like put in a good word, say something, just because like when I get there, maybe they'll invite me to something. And that's exactly what happened. And
it was actually crazy when I got to res though, because Raph and I had known each other from London, but we weren't like best friends or anything. But we lived in a res room where there was 4 girls. It was like apartment style. So you all had a door to your bed, but you shared a common space. And we were like, okay, like let's apply to live together, but also pick a foursome so that we can meet 2 new people. we didn't end up being
Very
close with
strategic.
our two roommates, but across the hall was Michelle, who was also from London. And then it also happened that the boys from high school that were from London chose Ryerson, and they had a dorm room
That is
right
so
across
funny.
the hall from us too. So we were all like within 50 meters from each other.
Which is good and bad though.
But no
'cause
one went to
maybe-
the same high school.
Okay.
Like we were all just, it was a fluke. It was just like a London floor.
Wow.
But you also met people from other cities and stuff. I remember there was so many Ottawa people too.
Yes.
But,
I remember that in your res.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Even mine too, yeah. And for me, like even program friends too, like you have to just put yourself out there. Like
Yeah.
I just walked up to my first class and I'm like, hey,
My biggest
you-
tip,
I-
sit beside someone new every day. My
yes.
sister told me that.
Oh my gosh, that's smart. Yeah.
Like literally sit beside someone, and if you don't mesh, okay, the next class the next week,
You'll
sit
go
beside
someone's-
someone
yeah.
else. Like
Absolutely. And like my best friends in my program, I met a lot of them second semester, because first semester I think I was so scared, I didn't know what I was doing, and I stuck with this one group of girls, which I'm still so close with, but I didn't even put myself out to anyone else other than the people that I had like outside of the program. And it really is like, if you do put yourself out there with different people all the time, like you're going to make a huge community, and you will, like, I only started doing that second semester, and then I started to have all these friends, and then you walk into the room and you know most of the people,
and it's so welcoming, because it's like, oh my gosh, like
Even if it's a little
let me
wave.
sit with you, yeah, or like I haven't talked to you, or like how's this doing,
Yeah.
how's this project, like it's just so, it really is like Ryerson fosters such an amazing sense of community.
Absolutely. And what do you guys think was like the biggest jump from high school to university?
Moving out.
Yeah, I also just think going from, I guess you're from Pickering, so it's kind of close to Toronto, so you might have been more used to Toronto, but like London's 2.5 hours away. So going from living at home with your parents to moving to the biggest city in Ontario and having so much freedom, and
a lot.
It's a lot all at once. And then also just doing everything yourself and seeing new faces. It's almost overwhelming, but it's like excitingly overwhelming.
It is overwhelming, but it's anxious overwhelming for the first week.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
you almost like you have to adapt right away, because
find your groove.
that's your life, unless obviously you drop out or something, but like that is your life for the rest of that at least year.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to make do, and you just kind of do whatever makes you happy. Like for me, my biggest jump was probably having the freedom and not the eyes on you from your parents or your siblings or your teachers in such a smaller space to like be like, okay, did you finish this today?
Yeah.
Because the majority of the first week of school, I got absolutely nothing done, and then I fell behind, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I got my first 50 on a midterm, and I was like bawling my eyes
I
out.
have
I'm
to
like,
get my shit together.
I'm like, I am not a 50 student. Like, this is not me. I know I can do better. I know I can do better. And you just have to go through that almost to
You learn
realize
quick.
that. Yeah. And I'm like, no. I'm going to stay in Monday to Wednesday while I have my classes to treat myself that Thursday, Friday or whatever, to be able to
Saturday,
do
Sunday.
that. Yeah. But like you figure out what works for you.
Yeah.
And like, how did you guys figure out, because did you guys work out throughout university too? Or did you pick it up more so after?
I came into Ryerson on the soccer team
Okay.
when I was in first
So
year.
explain that.
Well, I never even like thought about, well, that's a lie. I always thought about playing soccer, but I never took it seriously enough to be like, I need to go to a school where I have to play soccer. It just so happened that I chose Ryerson. I contacted Ryerson. Ryerson doesn't have the best women's soccer program, so it's not like I was competing with the best in the country or anything like that. Got on the team, didn't play much, so I didn't want to stick around, because also Ryerson doesn't have a soccer field near the campus.
we have
Did
have
you
to-
use U of
of that.
T's?
No, they give you a subway pass and you commute all the way to like Yorkdale Mall.
That's
like,
so much.
It takes so much out of your day. I didn't like it that much. I wasn't that close
Yeah,
with.
you're gonna have to love it to have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like best friends with two of the girls, but all the other girls like weren't my closest friends, not people that I'd really hang out with outside of soccer. So I was like, I don't really want to do this anymore regardless. Stopped soccer, and then my entire life I played soccer, and I didn't really know how to work out because soccer's all
Other than someone
running.
telling-
Like
yeah.
Yeah.
it's just mostly like that. So I actually stopped working out for like a good year and a half. And
When you
I just
got
like,
back into it, how did you?
well, I didn't even realize like what my lifestyle was like or what I was looking like. Like when you're working out all the time and you're in a planned sport, you can eat like crap because you're working out like 3 times a day.
Yeah.
You'll never notice it
It'll
on your
all
body.
even out. Yeah.
And then it caught up to me and I was like, okay, I'm about to be an Olympian again. So.
And then did you go back to the school gym to do that, or where did you
Yeah, I
find?
started going to the Mac slowly, which is the nicer school gym, and then just really got into running and stuff. So kind of rotated between that, but the MAC is a beautiful facility.
Beautiful
so I love
facility.
Going there.
Yeah.
I miss it.
We used to do workouts together. I remember you used to message me and we'd be like, I'd go, I had never woken up at like 6 a.m., but I'd do it for you.
I love that.
You're like, oh, I have to work. And I'm like, okay, sure. Well,
Okay, let's go.
Let's go. I'd have 2 hours of sleep, work out with you, and then go back to bed.
Did you ever do classes with me?
No. We just came and we did
just whatever
my
we
trainers,
wanted.
Yeah.
Because I guess it would have been second year. I started doing the classes. Like I started doing spin classes. I started doing the yoga classes. I started doing the Pilates, and like it was all free. Yeah. And I think that that's another thing that, like, again, if university or potential university students are listening, like leverage that. Like now I pay so much money for those type of classes and it's all included. So like do it.
That probably led you to like the routine that you're doing now. You're at a gym that offers all those great activities and stuff, and you go all the time, and it's probably just in your routine now that like you started that throughout university, became to love it, or became to having that as your routine.
Yeah.
Like,
and it's even just like walking into a gym, especially as a woman, can be very intimidating. So even just like going to those classes and like feeling the support of the community around me, and like other people, like none of us really knew what we were doing. And it's like, okay, let's just lean into this, have fun, get a good workout. So doing those kind of classes kind of built the foundation for having the confidence. And then when me and you would walk into the gym, it's like, okay, like.
So did you start going with people to those classes, or did you go in just alone?
I went with my roommate, which again, it's always easier to have someone. And then, but again, walking into the MAC, and like there's men and there's athletes and there's this and there's that, and it's like just having someone, but also like leaning on like my experience with the classes. Like it was just such a different experience.
And like for me, it wasn't the classes necessarily. Everyone knows the freshman 15, and I just had broken up with
Straight up, I got the freshman 15. Like
I lost the freshman 15 because I had the mental state of like
trauma.
I need a revenge body now. So I worked out.
You said that to me when I first met you and we started working out. You're like, I'm gonna get in the best shape of my life. And like I would say to you, how do you do this? Because you would do like a treadmill sequence, and I was like, literally, how do you do that? And you're like, my revenge body. Like I'm like, I want to post on Instagram and be like, I'm that bitch. And I'm like, okay, let's go. Enough said.
And I'm still doing that. Still trying, but it did come from that. But like that is what pushed me to use. For me, I had a gym because I was staying in the new res. So we had that little gym, and it was normally full. So I would wait till 11 p.m. at night because I'm that night owl, and I would go alone just so I would get the treadmill and have that space to kind of do my workout.
There's a gym in that res?
Yeah, it's not big and it doesn't have too much, but it has enough. Yeah. And it has one of everything, and you're fine as long as you get there at a good time.
At 11 p.m.
And I would sweat my heart out because I wanted to, like, you know, not gain those freshman 15 and still have that balanced lifestyle. And I think that's what pushed me when I had the chance and I lived right across the street from the MAC. I was like, let's go.
Yeah. Like there's no excuse.
And right now there's a treadmill for me at every hour. I'm going to go. I'm going to go whenever I want.
No excuse.
Yeah. Not at 11. But how did you guys find your balanced lifestyle then? Like, how did you figure out when to do your school, when to stay in, when to go out, when to try to meet new friends, dates, boyfriends?
Because you just were unhinged from the beginning. For me, it was kind of nice because, well, one, I think transitioning to university is huge. But I had the support of like my family because I would go to school and then I would go out to lunch and whatever, do all the things, and then I would train home and have a home cooked meal. So, and then when the weekend came, I would just stay downtown, stay at res, like whatever, and then kind of party and then reset and do it all over again.
So yours was almost like
I had it chunked
during
out
the week
for me. Yeah, exactly.
Weekend. You can elongate the weekend, but it's normally weekend.
Exactly.
Okay, not bad. You?
My first year was such a shit show. Okay. Like I actually just
you were drunk the whole time.
No,
but you passed, so clearly you're doing something.
But like when I stopped playing soccer, I lost that structure that I was always so used to. I'm living in res. Everyone in res is disgusting at all times. Everyone's always up to something.
I can't.
So there's always something going on. It might be a different person.
I also lived on the party floor. Like
what floor?
5.
Okay.
It was just
of
all
what res?
Pittman Hall.
So if you want to be a party, ask for floor
go to
5.
Pittman Hall. Pittman Hall. Yeah, Pittman Hall. But no, there was no balance. Like I would actually.
I remember. Sorry to interrupt. I slept there one night, and I slept in Dylan and whatever. I slept on their couch because we got locked out of our room. We got locked out of Kira's room. Anyway, I slept on their couch. no pillows, no blankets. The couch was like, it's sectional, so it comes apart the moment that you move.
It was so bad.
Anyway, we woke up and I go to leave and someone egged their door. And they weren't
That was
surprised.
not me.
They weren't. No, it's not you.
Okay.
I said someone egged their door. And I'm like, you guys, someone egged your door. They're like, yeah, that happens all the time. Like it happened. Like it was like a weekly occurrence. I'm like, what the fuck goes on in here? And I know you guys are paying big money. Like what?
Yeah.
What? I'm like,
You're
I
okay
need to
with
go
that?
home. Like I'm actually weirdly satisfied that I didn't get accepted to res because what the fuck?
Yeah.
People would like fight for a spot in Pittman Hall though, because that's how crazy it was. I would go for soccer practice would go until 9:30. Would have to subway back to res. That would take me to about 10:30. I would shower really quickly, do my hair really quickly, go out to the bar for 11:30. Would get back home, wake up for 6 a.m. and go to a morning lift and just like repeat.
Wow.
See, but I find when in university, and we're not old, but as I get older, I'm like,
I don't want to do that anymore.
I don't have the stamina that I once used to. And I'm only 22. Listen.
This is when I was like
Not
18,
even that.
19, by the way.
I feel
but-
bad for not getting my shit done. Like
Yeah.
I feel so bad
Oh, yeah.
for not being in my routine. Like I have a set routine now that I look forward to.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, if I'm not in this at least 4 days of the 7 a week, I'm mad. Like
Yeah.
I need to stick to it. I need to stick to this groove. And like I feel like I'm not progressing or growing as an individual when I don't have that. But like that was our time to shine.
Well, that was like when you
18,
first
19.
get
I
to
know.
school, your parents aren't there. You're almost lost. You're like, you don't even know how to say no because
You just
until
go with
that
the
age,
crowd.
until that age, someone was saying no for you.
Yeah.
So when everyone's like, here, you're like, okay, I'm gonna be there.
And also,
that's what happened.
Again, especially for you guys moving to a new city, people
Oh,
were probably
so
like,
exciting.
let's go to Grace O'Malley's. You're like, yeah, like let's
Oh my
freaking
God.
go there.
The
And then you get
chokehold
there.
that Gracie's had on me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like the most stress I had during school was I need to finish this and submit it so that I can make it to the pre. Like that was my
Literally.
That was my
I need to be at the pre for 9:30.
And then what you're going to eat after and how you're going to afford to purchase
Yes.
it.
Oh, I was so, like, I actually look back.
And if you can still find your friends by the
Yeah.
end of the night.
Thank you.
And if you
your
can still
phone.
feel your feet, because we all know we wore
Why did
high
we
heels
wear
in the snow.
Why? We were those girls.
And we
you guys
waited
know
in
that
line.
photo.
I still am that girl, but
Yeah, you'll be that girl
Yeah.
till you die, not me.
I have a
but-
big question. What was your both most embarrassing times in university? Because I mean, wearing heels isn't not embarrassing.
mine
in the
isn't
snow.
a going out story. Mine's like a straight up school story.
Okay, let's hear it.
When I was in second year is when the Raptors were in their championship year.
Okay,
So
yeah,
they
yeah.
won. And everyone was like, we the North, we the North. Mackenzie knows this story because she just took this class. But right after that, I was signing up for my electives. And there's a class at Ryerson called Geography of the Great North. I straight up thought it was going to be like Geography of Toronto. Like, as in the Great North is like,
I cannot.
we the North.
No.
Wait, did you tell people that or you just thought that in your head?
I straight up thought that. I get to the class with my guy friends.
You
we
really
sit
are
there,
not from Toronto.
We sit there and it's like the Arctic and like Nunavut and stuff like that.
I remember
Well, yeah.
this.
I remember I borderline
stay in the
failed.
class?
Yes, but I borderline failed a project. I'm so bad at geography. My teacher wrote in the notes, "You really think everything north is north of King City?" That's what she said.
I cannot.
I mean, at
Oh,
least you
where's
passed.
King City? But
Shout out King City.
yeah, King
I
City.
cannot.
At least you passed.
Okay, I didn't get like an awful grade, but I did get an awful grade on that project. She thought
Okay.
I was dense,
If
but
that's
I think
the
it's
most
funny.
embarrassing, I think you're doing
Do you
pretty
have
well.
anything more like juicy?
No.
Do you?
I was an angel.
I'm trying to think. I'm sure, but
I
feel
had
like
two
I've blocked
boyfriends.
it
I
out of
also
my
spent.
mind.
I'll
I had,
tell-
I had
oh,
two
yeah, you go.
boyfriends during university that were long distance, so I also spent a lot of time like
Yeah.
going back and forth, which took away from some
Yeah.
So
weekends.
did I, and I can
Big
be
regrets. But
I can be completely honest with the statement. If you don't think it's gonna last to
Break up.
marriage,
Break up.
while you're in university because you are held back from meeting new people, like enjoying these years.
especially
Like,
if they're like
and-
jealous and stuff.
and you're so young. If it's meant to be, it'll be in a few years.
And
It's
please write this down and recite it before bed. Do not follow your boyfriend to university.
I almost
No.
did.
Go.
I almost went to Guelph University.
Oh,
you and Guelph with like all the agricultural
God.
people.
One time I
he
went-
said that we might break up if I didn't go there, and I was like, oh.
I went to that campus. I went to that campus, and my boyfriend used to go to Guelph.
Mhm.
And I was walking, and I looked to my right. There's horses.
That's different.
And it was Hoko, so I was like, okay, maybe I've like drinking a lot. I blinked 2 times. I'm like,
Maybe they're
no,
playing
there's
like the
still
Western
horses.
Mustangs.
Still horse.
And I text my boyfriend now, wasn't my boyfriend at the time, and I go, why the fuck do you guys have horses? And he goes, oh, like it's for the vet program. I'm like, just picture Sarah Simkowski of all people.
Beside the horse.
Yeah.
Thank
I
you.
don't think
Not happening.
I don't
Thank
think
you.
I'd stay there very long.
Yeah.
I'd, probably figure it out, but the hard way.
Like,
I definitely
what
remember
the
the hard
fuck? And I remember, and this guy's actually a legend on TikTok now, but I remember going to whatever street that they, you know how all universities have a street that they party on, whatever. I went to that street in Guelph, and there's this guy, and real ones will know. He has a speaker on his head and he spins it around. He doesn't go in the clubs. He doesn't go in the clubs.
Does he travel? Because I feel like I either saw him in Waterloo.
Maybe he travels now because he is like a legend on
Iconic.
TikTok
He
now.
made a name for himself.
Well, I saw him back then and I knew there was potential.
Okay. Do you now know your most embarrassing story?
Yeah, you guys like
Probably
can't leave
going
me
to Guelph
hanging.
University.
No, I just made
No.
myself sound so
I'm
stupid.
trying to
Okay,
think.
I'll tell my...
Okay, and come back to me. Circle back.
Joelle knows this vividly, and you
Oh, this
probably
one's
know
good.
this very vividly too, but we went to... Love Child has done me dirty a few times.
Love Child has done
was
us
our
all
stomping
dirty.
ground.
Oh
Shut
my
up,
God,
Big Kyle. Shut up, Big
the
Kyle.
most embarrassing
Okay,
story.
well, hopefully it tops mine.
Okay.
But essentially, I went and I was very intoxicated at the time. And I was running up to the booth because we knew someone at the top of the booth. If you know Love Child, you know there's a stage.
Yeah.
And I was running and I tell people that my heel gave out, but I just slipped. So I fall backwards on like the back of my head and I hit the stage within the corner of the stage.
Oh my God.
And I was so embarrassed. I got up like you have never seen someone get up
Nothing
there like
happened.
I'm
Nothing
in your
happened.
entire
I'm
life. So I got up. I was totally fine. Tears wiped. Like I'm totally
Done.
fine. Went up to the booth. My friends were already there. And then I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm sweating.
You're not
Why
sweating.
am I sweating so much? This
You're
is
not
weird.
sweating.
So I put my hand to the back
Blood.
of my neck, and it was so dark in there, right? So I had taken like drinks at this point. Like I'd been there
it's like
for
a
an
little
hour.
bit into the night.
I'd been there for an hour at this point, and I was Snapchatting someone, and I Snapchatted with a flash on my hand just to see like, am I actually sweating? Like I've
like,
never
what's
sweat
going
this
on?
much before from my
I had a
head.
condition.
And then it was blood. So I started
Perfect.
freaking out. My friends started freaking out. Rushed to the hospital, emerged. We had to get staples there, whatever.
Just wait till what she does next, though.
Okay.
And then, are we talking about the next day?
Yes.
And then the next day, I couldn't tell my parents because God forbid they made me stay in the next night. That was someone's birthday. I had to
God
go.
She
forbid.
needed to come to the birthday.
I needed to go.
Okay.
So I, slept on my face because I couldn't put my head in the back. So
Perfect.
did that and showed up the next day with a bun. So I had the huge bump on the back. And
Staples.
And staples. And I had a great
You are a
time.
warrior.
I'm a warrior.
Okay, here's my most embarrassing story. That is not, it's not embarrassing. It's more so like sad. Like that's.
Oh, I know what you're about to say too.
Okay, so
don't know,
it
I did
also
slip.
it also happened at Love Child.
Okay, good. Thank you.
So I was at Love Child. Let me just set the scene. And back then, again, I was too a warrior. Okay,
warrior.
a bar veteran. Some may have called me.
6-inch heels all the time.
No. Anyway, me, I don't know why, but it was frequent that I would get on top of surfaces and dance. We've all been there, whatever. Anyway,
All of us.
I get on the highest, the mini
Wasn't
bar.
I on it with you?
Are you talking about the bar where like you buy a drink, like the actual one at the side?
Yeah, the side bar.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not the one that's like approaching the stage to get up the stage.
Yes.
Exactly. So I'm on there. How I got up there, unsure. Who I was with, unsure. Anyways, 1 minute I was dancing and having the time of my life, and the
No.
next minute I hit the deck face down, and it was like, when like, I don't know, someone could have easily like caught me because it was so packed. No, the whole dance floor
spaced out
cleared.
for you.
They're like, let's just let this girl hit
Like
the deck.
the Mean Girls scene when the
Yes.
girl's like falling
Yes.
off of
Yeah.
the stage. And they
But
almost
you
back
did that
up.
face first, you said?
Yeah. And then everyone is like, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay? And again, similar to you, I'm like, I actually personally have never been better. Like, I don't know why you
This
guys
was-
are asking
this was
me
planned.
this. Yeah. I'm like, what are you guys
And
talking
you
Part
about?
of the
stand
dance
up?
routine. It's part of the dance
Yeah.
routine.
I'm like, you guys, I was just getting to a new level and this was the fastest way.
This was my move. This was my new move.
Yeah. Anyways, everyone, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay? I'm like, you guys, I'm good. Anyway, everyone, because I was on an elevated surface, everyone could like see that I was up there.
Absolutely.
And
You were the star of the show.
Absolutely. Probably being insane, whatever. But then here's the best part. I have to walk to the other side of the club to get my jacket because my jacket is in a booth behind the DJ stand. So now I'm walking through the club and everyone's like, you're the floor girl. You're the floor girl. Are you okay? And I'm like, how did I end up here?
Absolutely not. I'm calling you the floor girl for the rest of your life.
Like, I'm like, how did I end up here? Anyways, and then I was calling everyone on my contact list. I don't know why.
Like, someone picked me up.
And I'm like, you guys, this just happened. Like, on a scale of 1 to 10, like, how embarrassing was that? I'm truly surprised to this day that there is not a video of me on 6Buzz, because that, like,
I'm going to look after this because I truly think if someone captured that, it's up there.
and my mom always says, like, Tori, you are so lucky that
You told your mom that story.
Of course.
Of course.
We're
transparent.
Yeah, I needed this moral support. The only thing that was severely
did you find
hurt
a friend?
was my ego.
I was with her that night, and the boys were with us.
Yeah,
like
so
Daniel and Grant.
I ended
Nick.
up leaving with Daniel. We got in an Uber and I called Nick and I was like, how embarrassing is this? And he's like, no, he's like, I think you're okay. Anyways, the best part is I was on the stage now, I'm remembering, with girls from Pickering. So where I'm from. So I'm like, okay, people that I actually know, like, witness this. It's different if, like, my friends, like, you guys witness it, whatever, embarrassing.
Random Toronto people
bad
doesn't
drunk
We
night.
just laugh, you know, like,
Exactly.
laugh it off.
But I'm like, I don't want to have people to, like, knowing. Anyway, that's my most
Gossip of the
embarrassing
city.
moment. Yeah.
I am thinking of another one from Love Child, but I'm not going to say it.
We never go to Love Child anymore. Though. But we
I
used
think
to
we're
be
traumatized.
religiously
No,
there every Friday
Love
night.
Child is the new Gracie's, where it's like
Young.
underage,
Yeah,
like
it's young.
19-year-olds.
I haven't been back, so I have no
like
idea.
we used to go with Big Kyle. He doesn't work there anymore. We don't
Yeah,
have
the
the plug
promoter
there
at the
anymore.
time.
Not only does he not work there, he's homeless now.
Yeah, did we actually fact check that?
Well, you did.
I swear,
You
I
saw
saw
him
him
running.
on the street. Yeah, when I was
he yelled
running.
at you.
Yeah, but hope he's doing well.
Did you do anything? Yeah, I hope he's doing well too. If
I
he's
hope he
listening.
is too. He was actually really,
He was
really
a very,
nice.
very nice guy. Always
Yeah.
let us put
We
the
went through
line.
a rotation of like starting at the normal.
Yeah. So where did we go? If you were in first year for people
Gracie's.
right now,
Gracie's.
Gracie's.
No.
Yeah.
Well, bite your
you
tongue.
have to.
No,
No.
she's saying, where would we go now?
No, but like if you're in first year,
grade-
you're gonna
in
love
first
it.
year.
You're gonna love
when
it.
we were in first year.
Yeah.
If we're giving tips to people
Cave.
that are moving in,
Dance cave.
You know, I love a good
No.
dance cave. That's where I met Jason.
Yeah, it's like
Oh.
iconic. That's like where their wedding reception is gonna be.
Well, I
It's
didn't
probably-
meet no Jason.
Right on the picnic table.
Yeah.
No, where's the place where it was the live band?
radio.
Radio.
We lived there
We only
too.
went there once. I only went there
No,
once.
we would go there so
few
much.
times,
Really?
Yeah.
And it was
The line was insane. We'd always
was
pay to like
incredible.
skip that
I
line.
remember
too.
when I went with you, and I think you, we were just like hammered. Like
we were the
shots.
band.
We were actually in the band's like personal bubble.
They would come up to us to ask what we wanted them to play next. I remember that vividly.
Yeah.
And that was the best night of my life.
Yeah.
I would do that again in a heartbeat.
And then we went from that to like living at Love Child. Like
Yeah.
it was actually Love Child or die. Like
think we
there
just
was
went
nothing
there.
else on King Street besides Love Child
Like,
because we
wasn't
knew
that your
nothing
birthday
else.
or it was someone's birthday?
Oh, yeah.
And that was
Yeah.
our choice of birthday
I
bar.
had 2 birthdays in a row at Love Child.
Yeah,
Wow.
you did.
But we could also just get in so easily, so it was like our
That's
go-to.
I think why we always went. And like
One
whenever
time I
we went
didn't
there,
even bring my purse.
You didn't bring your shoes.
remember
one
that.
I was
time.
gonna say that, but now I'm noted.
I
didn't
walked
bring
in
anything
from my birthday.
she was
No
underage
purse,
and she didn't
and
know
I
I was
was
underage, and they
underage.
were like, sure.
No purse, no shoes. How do you walk in somewhere with
Why?
no shoes?
Why did you not have shoes?
I could not tell you.
She left
Okay.
my
I
place
blocked
with
this
no
out
shoes.
of my head.
Okay.
It's gone.
It's not your fault.
I'm gonna call it first year, but I think it was second. We're gonna say
No,
I
it was
just
your
young.
first year. It was your first year. It was your first
Oh,
year. My
amazing.
second year.
Thank God. But yeah, that
you
was
cannot
a
be
low.
held accountable for anything that you do in first year.
Absolutely not.
That was not you.
no,
But
and
it's
I,
actually funny because I look at all the places that we would pick even for dinner today or like going out to a bar today and
It's so
didn't even know they
different.
existed
Yeah.
back then.
Even just the like weekend experience now is so different. Like
so
I
where would you go
remember-
now if we were going out? Obviously, we all know, but where? Say a few that we go to.
I love Parlor.
Parlors.
I don't love locals,
there.
but it's just easy to get there at the end of the night. It's like kind of where the
It is
group all
fun,
hangs out
yeah.
at the end. Like I would never want to start at locals.
LF is great too upstairs. Ruby's great to get a drink at, especially if you're going on the patio. Regulars is fun. Karaoke Wednesdays.
Yeah.
petty cash
Petty
can
cash.
be okay. Yeah.
I'm more of a dinner girl now.
I like sitting down. I like parking it, but
I like parking
I like
it.
dancing though too. It just depends on
I
the
like
night.
bar.
She likes parking it and then putting it in reverse. And jiggy with it.
Put in reverse.
I like going up to. I like bars. Like I like going up to a bar and sitting at it and meeting people, or like people coming
yeah.
up to you.
I like
you know.
places
Yeah.
where I can actually hold a conversation with someone. I don't want to be like yelling in your earlobe.
Me
Agree.
too.
Agree.
Okay, so if we great information for people that are in their university and I want to call it wild phases, but we were just wild childs and I don't think we've even dropped it yet, but I hope we don't. But for people moving out of university, that transitional period of, for me, we're all doing it right now and you both went the career route. I'm going the master's degree program. What was like, how did you find a job out of school? Like, did you get it through Ryerson or like what was your way and how did you know what avenue you wanted to take? And was it like a overwhelming experience? Because it's not just, oh, next year we're just going to start back in September.
Yeah.
Like where was your head at?
I feel like, at least in my situation, I kind of set myself up to get a job. Like I was as soon as third year hit, I was like, okay, there's no more working at the Forever 21s and the Pita Pits. Like I actually need to get jobs that have like transferable skills
That will
for
set
my
me up
industry.
for-
Exactly. And again, I think I was just very in tune with that. I always wanted a career and dreamt of like making my own money. So yeah, it really started in third year for me and just getting jobs that I was like, okay, like, yeah, this is an admin position, but what are the skills that I can write on my resume to then take me to the next step? I think the biggest thing with careers is everything is a stepping stone. So yeah, I did an unpaid internship and then that led into my first agency and then that agency led me into the agency that I'm in now. And it's like, yeah, when I first started, I was unpaid and then my next agency was not happy with what I was making, but it's like, you really kind of have to have that like forethought to look in the future.
Absolutely. And like those unpaid jobs, like I had to do internships for my program. I think it was like 200 hours or something like that. And I didn't get paid for, I think, all of it. And I honestly like made so many connections along the way that if I did want to get a job instead of going to my master's, I could have easily gotten somewhere because you can just reach out and someone knows someone, whatever. And it's like so helpful. And I know you probably think like I should be getting paid for this, but like especially in university and stuff, and if it's on the side and if it's even through a program, you take the opportunity if you can.
100%.
I totally agree.
Everything is a stepping stone, and it's like at the end of the day, especially in the career world, it's kind of a dog-eat-dog world, and you have to kind of forge your own way. No one is going to come knocking on your door with a job in your field with the salary that you want. I'm not where I want to be right now, but it's like I know that
you're in the right steps.
Exactly. So yeah, everything is a stepping stone.
I totally agree. Do you think that was the same kind of mentality?
I was just gonna say, like, people from the outside can look at like what my life is like or stuff I do and all of that, but they don't understand I've legit put like blood, sweat, and like 1,000 tears into everything.
Yeah.
Right from first year, my parents really pushed internships because I see a lot of people who graduate and they struggle to find a job because they didn't put in the work.
So common.
Yeah.
They didn't. And I was lucky enough. One, I think I did 1 million unpaid internships. I think they're a crime. Like, it's not fair. But I was lucky enough that my parents supported me so that I could have those experiences to put on my resume. The first thing you should do when you get to university is make a LinkedIn account because you need to network professionally. When I finished university, I would put in hours, and I'm telling you, like, legit just crying all the time, like trying to find a job because that's how stressful it was.
Yeah.
The media industry is very small, so you really have to network too. But I started with internships, and that's how you get your first job. People who sit back and wait for people to come to them will not get the good stuff in life because, like, you have to get off your high horse and really start at the bottom. And that's what I did, and that's what I continue to do. You build your way up. You meet new people all the time. So my piece of advice is to stop waiting for things to happen to you and really put yourself out there. You might be working a job where you're commuting an hour or you're working until 1 a.m. So what? Like, suck it up. Don't go out one night and do the work. Like, it's not going to happen to you. You have to make it happen to you.
You just reminded me of Kim K. Seems like nobody wants to work these days.
Seriously, she got so much hate for that, but I actually agree with her because lots of people just sit around praying that good things happen to them instead of putting in the work.
Yeah. That's why I tell people, like, because I'm going to a master's program, I'm not as overwhelmed to find the career or the job of my dreams right now. But like when I move to New York and after I'm finished that program, I will have already planned out, like I'm going to be working throughout this entire year to find like that and make those connections. Be nice to everybody, because you don't know who's going to be your boss, manager, person you're working with in your next job. Like you don't, and you don't know when you're going to need to reach out to someone or be like, oh my gosh, I had no idea you were this. Be nice to absolutely everybody. Yes, obviously you don't have to like everyone as much as everyone else, but be nice to everybody. Make those connections. You guys said networking. Like networking is so important, especially in all three of our careers.
And networking is an everyday thing. It's not just going to networking events or talking to your prof. Like when you walk in a room, make your presence known, make sure people know your name, talk to them, connect with them. And it's not even like, what can I get from them? It's no, like we're all human. We need to connect with each other. And then it's like, I don't know, maybe you'll be sitting in a room and someone will be talking about PR and you're like, oh my God, my friend Tori like this.
Exactly.
You know? Yeah. So it's like networking is literally everywhere you go.
Also, like my biggest pet peeve in life is even like people watching this, like you hear about how much fun we have, but lots of people don't understand everything that goes on behind the scenes too. Like I'll happily give up my entire weekend to go travel for work or to put in the work. It's also about not only like fitness life balance, but it's also like a life work balance. People who are all about work, like most of the time are drowning and it's almost painful for them. But you really do have to sacrifice the fun things.
It's so true. And like you have to know when to like
when to stop. Like we were just talking about in school, like when we were 19, like you have no responsibility when you're 19. I didn't have a job in school during the year.
It's a wake-up call.
Yeah. When you actually get out of school and you're like, okay, my employers are watching me, my coworkers are watching me, the world is watching me. Like you have to make the right choices.
And you told me something one time about you're like, be so grateful for the hours that you do have for school and stuff and the hours that you don't. Can you explain what you were kind of telling me about that too? Because that hit home for me too, because it made me just kind of wake up a bit with like what I had when I was in school.
Oh yeah.
I think the dynamic is so different because you go to school and you have, okay, a 3-hour lecture here and then a 3-hour lecture 3 hours later. So that's 6 hours of your time taken up. But in between you have this 3-hour break where you can work out, you can grocery shop, all the things. But then when you switch into a career, not only do you have people depending on you and asking for you and asking for you to do things, it's also like your own reputation at this point. With school, it's like, okay, if you fail, that's on you.
On you.
But in work, like if you fail, you have a team to support, you have a job to do, you're getting paid to be there. So the pressure is kind of on. And that's why the dynamic shifts so much, because it's like going out before, okay, I have to wake up at 7 a.m. I have a report due by 7:30. Like it's just not an option for me. Whereas in university, it's so like self-regulated where, okay, if you are hungover the next day, you miss class, you do your notes, like you're okay.
Yeah.
You get somebody else's notes you can pick up.
100%.
Also, like school is so set in your timing. You just said 3 hours here. You have the rest of the day to do whatever you want. Work, unless you're working shift work, 9 to 5 does not mean 9 to 5. No. 9 to 5 means like 9 to 8. It can mean like 10 to 7. It's all over the place.
Yeah.
If someone needs you, they need you, and you better get it done.
I feel like for work, it's more so like for school, it's your profs want you to do well, whether you like it or not. Like they do. They want to help you. And if you email them and say that you need an extra day, more times than not, they're going to help you out and they're going to be there for you. But for work, I feel like it's you and only you. You're the only, my dad always says this, and I said this in the last podcast, you're the only person that's going to push yourself. And I think that that's very apparent, especially when you move into the whole work world.
Lots of people want to see you fail though at the end of the day too. Like your friends want to see you succeed, but in a work world, not fail, but everyone is your competition at the end of the day. Like you want that job, so does 100 other people. Like you have to prove that you're the best and you have to put in the work, because there's always someone who's better than you. It doesn't matter how hard you try.
I totally agree. And because we're running out of time, do you guys agree that university and like those 4 years of your life was, like people say, the best 4 years of my life?
I think I was talking about this actually with someone. I think it's like a university is kind of fake because you're living alone and away from your family. You have the freedom. You always has like a sense of community with your peers and whatever. You get to grocery shop. Like you get a taste of adulthood, but it's like, okay, after the 8 months, then you're going home for 4 months and you're kind of back in that groove. It's not real though. Like it's like, you know what I mean? Like
but I say it's the best because I think we got to be in a community. have as much fun as we want. The responsibilities weren't there. You get in the
Agree.
real world, you're paying for everything yourself. You have bills, you have everything.
It's amazing, but it's not realistic.
It's not real, but
it
like
doesn't
you better
set you
soak
up to
it in.
enter the workforce.
Yeah.
But
you know?
when people told me that before I went into university, now looking back after, I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like I had and someone could tell me this they'll say next year is going to be the best year of your life. And I'll probably look back on that too and go, oh my gosh, it was.
Yeah.
But now looking back on it, I'm like, I had so much fun. I met the amazing friends. I met amazing professors. I learned so freaking much.
Yeah.
And I would, if I could do it again, I would.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would never change my decision of where
Me
I went
neither.
to school.
Yeah.
When people say, oh, like I hated my school, I'm like,
I
that
would
sucks
never.
for you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I would not change one single thing.
Me neither.
Any final tips that you have for anyone kind of going through a transitional period in their life, whether it's into university, into a job?
Do what is best for you, and don't follow what people do, or don't follow like what you feel doesn't align with you. You know you better than anyone else. And and when it comes to a school setting, like you're going there to set yourself up for your career. Don't go where the best parties are, where the best bar, like don't follow that. Do what is going to set you up to succeed.
And don't stay with where your friends are. Like
No.
you can meet new friends and you'll
Branch
still be friends
out.
with those people.
Yeah.
I totally
I
agree.
would say just like chase goals. Don't chase people.
Chase your dreams.
Let's put that on a freaking t-shirt.
Honestly, like that was off
Where
the
did
top
that
of my
come
head.
from?
I
that
think
was
it was
great.
really good.
And that was a good one to end on.
You are
Yeah.
Gandhi.
Yeah. So thank you guys for coming back. And I hope everyone either learned something or took something from this podcast in their own transitional period that they're kind of going through, because I know everyone probably is. So please write anything that you want to hear about next, any topics maybe with them again if they would want to come back on to the Good, the Bad, and the Future podcast. And I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your week. And I'll see you next Wednesday.